Josh.
What's up, Chris?
Anything did happen this week?
Ray did that one last night.
Oh, hold on one second.
How's everybody doing? TGIF. Some good games on the NBA docket tonight. Jose. Roy, it's good to hear you say that. What's up, Corey?
Huh, he nailed it.
How could you forget that?
I'm just so used to last night where I was.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the crossover. Today is Friday, December 3rd, 2021, and we've got a few announcements. We'll start off with mail dates. We'll lead off with that, and then we'll talk about 2 new features to Card Ladder.
Do you have any mail dates?
I don't think so. Christina, did you have any?
Thanks.
You pulled it. No, we don't have any.
All right. Well, I have some stuff that's new and some stuff that's PSA returns, but it's a lot. So I'll go fast. Ish. I'll do the existing stuff PSA return. So I got like a lot of my CP3 stuff back kind of all at once. So I'll just kind of run through it.
Nice.
Hold
on, if you're in the chat, by the way, and if you want to take away the chat for a minute so you can see the cards more clearly, just tap the screen one time, okay? I'm doing it. I recommend doing it as well so you can see the cards more clearly. I'm sorry, Josh, go ahead.
So this is the only one where I got a 9 or above. Exquisite stuff is on the exquisite stuff. It's hard to grade. So this is his second year, just regular exquisite. These are out of 100.
Beautiful.
But PSA 9 is pretty solid on that one. Let's see. So this is 2006 emblems, PSA 6. PSA 6 10 auto. This is the only one I'm kind of sad about, but I kind of thought it might happen. The auto got an 8 here. But I'm not a fan of the like authentic grade. I'm like, I feel like I'd rather just be upfront about it. But the auto is kind of like faded in the middle. It's kind of hard to see, but it is faded quite a bit. This one was a BGS 8.5. So there you go. Look at that patch though.
Sick.
This one is sweet. PSA 8, 10, 25 out of 25. Sick patch.
He looks so young in that picture.
No, look at all that hair. Look at all the hair. I think the Sun streak might come to an end tonight.
That's okay. They can lose one
Bridges
every 20 games or so.
No Booker. Bridges went out.
Bridges went out. What happened to Bridges?
I think he's back. He was running back in.
Okay.
I cracked. Anytime it's BGS, I'll just crack it myself. This is the rookie year right here. This is a rookie year exquisite out of 100. Yeah, this one's sweet. PSA 8. I feel like an 8 on exquisite is just like pretty dang mint.
Yep.
Because I looked these cards over pretty heavily, and like the ones that are 6s didn't look terrible to me. The ones that are like 8s and above looked. I thought maybe I'd have a shot at a 9 on a lot of them, but so 8 is another 8. This is a rookie. And then one more pile. So that's all the exquisite. Oh, hold on. Can't remember if I showed the bigger ones. I'll do it anyways. PSA 8 on the RPA 99. So this is probably my best CP3 card.
Yeah, that's amazing.
PSA 8. This is the most rare exquisite. These are out of 10. I've showed these before. 7 is solid on that one. Can't remember if I showed this one. This one's out of 3. PSA 6.
Nice.
And the other rookie limited logos, PSA 6. So 6s, 8s, Nope, nothing 5 or below, so I'm not doing too bad.
Yeah, well, you know,
All
a
right.
lot of exquisite cards are raw or in authentic slabs or old BGS slabs, and like there's absolutely nothing wrong with the PSA 6 or 7 of mid 2000s exquisite stuff. And the 10 auto really kind of cleans it up too.
Totally. So this is a rookie SP Authentic. These are a pretty high serial number, but I think the 1010s are. So I got this from Luka Doncic PC Kelvin, and I think he graded like a bunch of raws, and I know he did get a few 10s. He got a few 1010s, so pretty nice one there. And then here's the gold stuff. This I cracked as a BGS 9, crossed to a PSA 9. These are out of 50. This one I bought raw on eBay. PSA 10.
Nice. That's always amazing, isn't it?
These are pretty easy to grade, to be honest. I've like the LeBrons, all the ones I've seen are 10s, and that's jersey number too.
Yeah.
This one was a BGS 9, cracked. I do have better luck sending in raw, so hot tip. This one's 2 out of 25. I love this one. It's kind of, I usually like in-game photos and stuff, but I don't know why. I love this design. Pretty sick. This is probably my favorite one of the bunch. This was a BGS 9.5, cracked PSA 10. I got a little bit lucky on some of these, I guess, but oh, look at that. Isn't that a little card ladder jersey number?
Nice.
Just needs the 6. Last few are gonna really throw everyone for a loop, so let's just see what happens.
Oh, nice.
A little bit of Charizard action. With some of the RPA money, I thought, let me get some old Pokemon cards I've always wanted, so I did get quite a few Pokemon. And this is obviously kind of like the one that most people know. This is like the OG.
Mm-hmm.
The first English Charizard. I like this one. This came out before the English, but it's like so in Japan they have like these vending machines, and some of these cards come out of that. So this is from '97. So this is after the initial like base set in Japan, and these are like pretty cool looking cards. And each card in the set has a unique design.
Nice.
2006 Charizard PSA 10. So the thing with Pokemon is like it's more about like condition rarity because there's not serial numbered cards, so you got to kind of get creative and try to find like some unique pieces to get in PSA 10. Here's another. Almost done. These ones are pretty. I think a lot of people have seen this one, but there's another PSA 10. Third. And legendary. I got this one off PWCC monthly. All right, that's it.
That's it?
That's it. That's like what, 20 cards, 30 cards or something?
Yeah, I mean, Josh, before the show, we were talking, and you were like, maybe I should just do a live on my own and not, put this on the front of the crossover or whatever. But I think the chat will agree with me, and the audience will agree with me. Thank you for reserving that and showing it on the crossover. We're collectors first and foremost. That's always going to be the animating factor behind anything we do. I think it sheds some light into how we answer these questions and try and give our input on stuff. And so it's always awesome to see stuff you pick up. And that's where it all starts and ends, man, is with our cards. Like, if we're not enjoying and showing our collections and adding stuff to them and making moves, then none of the rest of this stuff makes sense. So thank you for showing those, bud.
Seems like the showing off your cards and talking about what cards are in your collection are like a dying content.
I know.
Like honestly, like it seems simple but
I know. I mean, the content is great, but the content doesn't make much sense if it's not predicated upon, collecting and actually collecting, not hypothetically or theoretically collecting, but like real collecting.
Right. That's a lot of like, what's like the best investment right now, or what's like the hot thing to buy or whatever. It's like, oh, are you buying that and collecting it, or are you just telling me about it? Like, what? Show me the proof, man.
Totally. And you just showed like such a crazy range of stuff. Like, like, first of all, the mid 2000s it goes out saying it's an underrepresented era in sports card content right now. So I love being able to show off that stuff, and showing off exquisite and PSA slabs. That's a rarity as well. And then, the mid 2000s finest and Bowman Golds and everything, and Chris Paul, who's having, an MVP caliber season, leading a team to 17 straight wins, over some tough opponents too, or 18 straight, I think now. And, and then switching it over to Pokemon and everything. It's just, love it. Love it. You're not going to get that content anywhere else. I'll tell you that.
Well, it's like, some people maybe think through what they would do if someone gave them, some cash to buy stuff. Well, you know what I would do? I sold the RPA, had some cash, and it's like, well, let's see what I want to buy.
Yeah.
I want to buy a lot of stuff.
That's perfect. Okay, good. All right, so those were some mail days. Now let's talk about the 2 new features that got added to Card Ladder. And these are really exciting. And right now, I think you can only access them from web, although they'll be on the mobile app soon. Is that right?
Sorry, your audio cut out.
Oh, sorry. I think these features are available on web right now, and they'll be on mobile soon. Is that right?
Yeah, let me check mobile. Get a live look.
I know
I'm
for
still
sure
waiting for
these features. Okay, because I know for sure these features are both on our web app. So using your laptop browser, computer browser, you can access these. Okay, waiting for review. Great.
Thanks a lot, Apple.
It's always the waiting game, and we roll out so many new features, so we know how this works. But all right, so let's talk about 2 different new features, and let's talk about Shop first, because Preston's Cards in the chat tonight asked, Preston actually asked a different question, but somebody had a question about Shop and about being able to, here it is. Slabs for Hayes wrote in with a question that said, considering Card Ladder is piped into multiple platforms, eBay, MySlabs, and the auction houses, have you considered adding functionality to Card Ladder that allows users to track listings across all of these platforms? Because I, like others, am constantly going to multiple sites to see items being listed. So to the extent that those searches could be consolidated, that would be great. And by the way, you're about to see that Card Ladder is receiving sales, live listings from a number of different platforms, and we're actively collaborating with any and all marketplaces of reputable standing in the hobby to get their stuff into our shop as well. And we also track sales from over a dozen different places, Golden, eBay, MySlabs, etc., just to clear that up in case there was any concern. Okay, but Josh, walk us through Shop, man. Tell us about Shop.
Sure. So before we had just like eBay ending in the next few minutes as the feature, and we still have that, but we've also added a few other platforms, Heritage, MySlabs, PWCC Monthly, and PWCC Premier, and we're working with a bunch of places to add more here. It's just a little bit more, behind the scenes work that we're trying to get through with some of these companies, and I'm working with Golden right now, trying to get them in here. So we're definitely looking to get a lot more, and we're looking to expand eBay as well. I know I got asked, like a bunch of eBay stuff is in here. The eBay stuff is a little bit more complicated just because there's so many listings. So we're working on it right now. It's mostly like it's like a proof of concept with some pretty solid listings in here. So the main thing is search. Like I've always wanted to just be able to search, and I know people like filters and sorts and all this, but we're big on search. So if you could just like search LeBron James, gold, refractor, and you only want PSA, so let's like exclude BGS and SGC for the sake of this. And it's like, oh, boom, there's 4 PSA graded LeBron gold cards. So the search is very similar to what we have everywhere else. It's pretty powerful. We had a request from Burbank actually to add a filter for listing types. So you can like filter down to only auctions. You can filter down platforms. You can pick multiple platforms. You can do both PWCCs with a min price of 1,000. And then you want to sort by ending soonest. because you want to see like the baseball listings. So you can get the PWTC monthly baseball listings over 1,000. You know, you can get pretty, like if you want to look for what you're looking for, you can filter down to what you want, but I like it just for the search into everything.
That's terrific. That's an absolutely terrific feature. Our guy Midwest Vintage Cards, his shop is the best addition to Card Ladder. It's fantastic. Yeah, this is a really, really neat feature. It's crazy to think that this is just like one of many powerful features on Card Ladder. That's almost its own application by itself. But it's incredibly powerful tool. Josh was using that tool, and he just punched in like Jordan Gold or something, and he directed me to a listing of a heritage auction of a Jordan Ultra Stars Gold PSA 7 that's just like buried in a monster heritage auction that's ending soon. Like, you can use this tool to find little gems, little diamonds in the rough like that. And obviously I'm not going to be going after that card now, right? But you know, so Josh was like, dude, you got to go look at this. Like, this is just chilling in a heritage auction. Like, nobody knows that this is sitting there. And so I went to the shop, I typed in Jordan Ultra Stars Gold, and boom, there's a PSA 7 on heritage live at auction right now. So pretty freaking exciting, if I may say so myself. And all, yeah, to echo Josh's point, shout out to Burbank Sports Cards. Shout out to Ryan in particular. He's been an early adopter and a supporter and a user of Card Ladder over the months, the years, or the year and a half now. Ran into him in Vegas. We used to be out there in California. Bought a case of National Treasures basketball from him back in the day. Just
back when you were married.
yeah, just awesome
When we
guy.
were poor college students.
So just a great guy, and really love to get the feedback and, you know, have his input manifest on shop. So super powerful feature, dude. Okay, now what about feature number 2, which so this is what Preston had a question. He said that the second feature is called Sales History, and in particular he said, does sales history show cards that sold with best offer? So Josh actually just showed that you can filter active listings by listing type, and the sales history feature lets you do that too. So sales history, this feature really energizes me. It's a database of sales from 12 or 13 different platforms at least, going all the way back to the year 2000. You know, we have SCP auctions in there. We have Golden, PWCC Monthly, Premier, and Vault. You know, you can't even get that data if you go to PWCC's own website, but it's here. eBay, obviously, there's like 23 million roughly sales in this database. It's just super comprehensive. Go ahead, Josh.
Preston asked about images. We do have images from like the major auction houses and some of the newer eBay ones, but like eBay dumps their listings and we lose some of the images, and we're not like saving every eBay image for storage reasons. It's just so many, but we do have images on quite a bit, especially like newer stuff. You'll see that like if I filter down to Golden, for example, Golden's site doesn't have their past sold anymore, so like you'll only be able to get that on our site. I spoke with some of the Golden engineers about that today, and they're pretty excited that we at least have it for them. That's the cool thing about this. All these companies really, they like having their data in our site because it brings a lot of light to them and shows their comps and like the active listings. It's all kind of one cool ecosystem, I think. This is like the other side of shop, right? It's like what happens after it sells? Well, let's just save those. And all the stuff that we save in our main database for all the cards we track, they're also in here. So you're able to search pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I would say the best use case is like, it's something super rare and you don't have it in the ladder, you just want to go check. Like I was using this a lot for Chris Paul research. It's like Chris Paul, finest gold, refractor, PSA, whatever. And I could not do PSA because there's not a lot of PSA stuff. So it's like, I was doing research on this one. This one just sold last night. I should have bought it. But like, here's a bunch of comps on this finest one. Here's a raw BGS 995. Like, this was actually my purchase. So there's like the CLV. I'm already losing money. You could like search pretty much anything, and it's the same search as all the other stuff. You can do exclusions, you can do parentheses and/or stuff like that. The other cool thing that I already teased here is we're actually pulling the player out of the listing and determining what player it is, and then again using our logic of the player indexes, giving a predicted price on it. So we're able to say like, hey, this sold on October 7th for this. The Chris Paul market has declined X since then, X percentage, whatever this is. So here's the new seal value. And this is cool if you find something in here that's like a golden sale from like 2014 and you want to know what the heck this super rare Jordan that sold for like $800 is worth today. It'll spit out a number. Some of it's pretty tough to give like a super accurate number because it's so old, but at least it gives you something.
Very, very exciting. And yeah, I mean that's if so. First of all, you get all the search results with as much relevant information as we can give you, platform, listing, title, and picture if it's available. And then if you just click any of the search results, like Josh was saying, like you're going to get a value projection on that card, no matter how long ago it sold, using the price check methodology that many of you are already familiar with from using that feature over the last few months. So we're using the player's total market index to project prices on sales. So you have the full card ladder pricing algorithm power at your fingertips as you're conducting your research. So you don't even need to hop over to the price check feature. You literally just click the listing and we're going to run that computation for you. So it's a very neat tool for the collector to have in their tool belt. And, you know, being able to roll out both of those features this week is extremely important to us. And I just think, you know, very proud of the value that we're able to add to our users by rolling out this stuff. So
look how many comps we have in the Ultra Stars Gold Jordan. So this is Cole brought this up to me today, the other developer. He was like, dude, on the shop page, I should be able to click a button on the listing and it will show me the sales history of the card, so I can do all my research right there.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I was looking at that Jordan Ultra Stars Gold, I come over to sales history, punch in the search, I've got 20 comps to try to figure out what I think this thing's worth. And this thing's guessing like, oh, 35K, 40K. So we know it's going to be somewhere probably around that range, 40K again. So it's fun for the super rare stuff. Honestly, that's where I use it the most.
Totally. Yeah. So awesome feature, and yeah, we just like we just added that the ability to filter by listing type as well. So you can know if you want to look at only auctions, only fixed price, only best offer, you can filter by those types. So pretty.
We still have the price check feature. It's up here now instead of.
Yep.
So you can still do the manual check like you could before.
Definitely. So just a very powerful research suite is developing here. I shudder to think what we could do to improve on this even more, although I'm sure we eventually will. But
hold my beer. Look at these guys.
Okay, so all right, moving on. Josh, you and Cole were in New York. Not even a week ago, less than a week ago, right? Do I have my?
Yeah, I got home Tuesday.
Got home Tuesday. Man, that seems like that was so long ago, but that was only 3 or 4 days ago. Okay, so Mostly 90s Basketball Card says you should probably start the show with what everyone wants to hear. Josh's East Coast pizza rankings. Oh, look, Stefan Wax is on top of it. How was the pizza? All right, so let's hear the pizza review, Josh, of New York.
Yeah, so John's Bakery was the best pizza I had. I was also heavily biased going into it, knowing that was probably going to be my favorite. I also really like just the corner pizza stuff. Like any of the corner pizzas that I can grab a slice, I love that stuff. It's hard to like just name one of them. There was, I think I did like Borough Street Pizza and like some 99-cent pizza place as well. We did Prince Street Pizza, which is like a highly ranked thick pizza. It wasn't my favorite. I got so used to the thin New York style that I had the thick pizza and I was like getting sick. It was so much cheese and stuff. But I would say John's at Bleecker. I wanted to do Joe's. I guess that was the other famous one that I didn't get to try. Didn't make it there because I did John's at Bleecker twice.
Okay, well then I guess that kind of seals the deal on John's. John's at Bleecker. Did you have any pizza while at Bleecker for the trade night?
We had just come from pizza, so they brought in pizza, and I was like, oh my God, I can't look at pizza anymore.
No doubt. Okay. So let's talk about the trade night at Bleecker and how was that? How was the turnout? How was it seeing Mark and the whole Bleecker team? How was the experience?
Oh, it was fantastic. Mark and the whole team are just awesome. I honestly hadn't met any of them before this, and it was just great. Like I thought they were fantastic. The venue was really well organized, and they had plenty of drinks, plenty of food. Lots of people showed up having a good time. The spot itself is very good for this type of venue. Like it's very good for trade nights because there's a lot of room to spread out. There's a lot of tables and seating areas and stuff. So that was fun. And they had a big old thing of Truly.
I saw that. Yeah.
I'm just gonna assume that was for me. I don't know if they did that before, but Mark was awesome. And then Mark. Him and I busted a box of 96 Fleer Ultra, I think. So that was fun. And no, it was great. I mean, the whole like New York City has so much culture compared to where I'm from. Where here it's like kind of dry desert, very spread out. There, it's just like there's like a lot of culture going on, and I think Bleecker embodies that culture perfectly.
Great. Did you make any trades or see any trades go down of note?
No, I didn't do any trading. I didn't really see that. I was mostly hanging out with people, chatting it up.
Excellent. Any other recap or stuff you want to discuss being in New York? I see Nick is in the chat. Obviously, shout out to Nick for being in New York. Any other final thoughts on the trip to New York?
Well, I mean, I got to talk about the Knicks game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the Suns were there, and that was just amazing. The I'd never been to the Garden before, and the comment I made to a few people was like, I think the Suns were up by 20 in the fourth quarter, and it was like, and the Knicks fans were still like getting into like the X's and O's of the game. Like they were like, switch the screens on Booker. Why we have Kemba Walker on Booker? And then I think Kevin Knox made a dunk, and the place went bananas, and they were down 20, and it was just like, man, these guys, they know their basketball, they love their basketball. And I heard a lot of people say like the Nets games are more for like, people show up for the the spectacle of it, but the Knicks you're there for basketball. And if you're not watching basketball, you're just not going to fit in. So I thought that was, and I had a lot of fun, ragging on people since the Suns were dominating.
Oh, you were talking a little trash, huh?
Oh, plenty of, dude. People were like, sit down, because I kept standing. Because when you're on the court, when you're that close, you're like literally on the actual, like, the court, like the wood court. So I just wanted to keep standing on it. Like I just had this, and the ball went out of bounds and like rolled up to me, and I was able to pick up the ball, hold it for like a second, and the ref just kind of like did this and like, oh yeah.
Wow, so you helped the game proceed in orderly fashion. Good, well done. Beantown Hobby, shout out Joe. He says never eat Sbarros. Joe was en route to.
Yeah, we hope you and Tara feel better.
Hope you guys feel better. Joe was en route to trade nights and got sick off of some bad Sbarros.
Yeah.
So
isn't it like a sin to eat that in New York? Isn't that like eating?
He was on the way down. He was not in.
He's from Boston. We can't hold it against them.
Yeah.
We don't know better.
So, all right. Let's get to some questions. We'll start with a handful of questions, maybe a little more than a handful, on the recent news, but stay tuned because after we talk and address some of these concerns and questions about what this means for Card Ladder and us going forward, we've got a boatload of collector-oriented questions to round out the show as well, which is really for first-time viewers, that's more of our lane, is just
Mhm.
answering questions about the culture of the hobby and best practices and, so on and so forth, and breaking down data and analyzing the market. But we've got a unique set of circumstances on our hands today. All right, so the first question relating to Collectors Universe's acquisition of Card Ladder comes from Brady Collector TX. He just wants to know, will you guys still be active?
Active. We will be more active. We're going to continue to be active in content. We're going to keep doing the show. That was actually a big part of the deal. I felt that was like more part of the deal than I thought it was going to be. I thought, but they were, collectors really like the show, and they're interested in acquiring the show as well. So we're going to be active on the show, SEC, active on development of the product. I'm still heavily involved. You're active in the card and the data side. So I don't think anything changes there.
Yeah, I agree. No, it was equal parts flattering and motivating when Collectors Universe expressed an interest in acquiring not only the Card Ladder software, but what they said is the Card Ladder content suite, including crossover and sports cards culture, in addition to social media. So very happy to be making content under the Collectors umbrella. All right, next question comes from Northwoods Card Collector. He says, I use the estimated value tool on Card Ladder on the app at the Chicago Sports Spectacular to help me come up with the value for a Pop 5 PSA 10 card that I wanted to move. To my surprise, a few vendors had not heard of Card Ladder. I did, however, find a vendor I was able to make a trade with using the Card Ladder valuation of the card. It was extremely helpful and simple to explain how I was pricing this rare card. Does Card Ladder have a plan for marketing itself more in the future? What has to happen for Card Ladder to end up as a go-to source to look up card values rather than sold and completed or databases, which seems to be what the dealers focus on? Thank you for fulfilling a need in the hobby, and congrats on the recent events. So here we have a use case where somebody was hoping and eventually succeeded in relying on Card Ladder's pricing algorithm and methodology to, catalyze a transaction. But he's concerned, obviously, because some people never heard of it before. Some of the dealers had never heard about Card Ladder before, and so, they were skeptical, rightfully so. So he's wondering, can we market this more so that all the dealers at the shows know what it is and that they have a preconceived understanding of how Card Ladder's pricing methodologies work so that it can provide a jumping off point, potentially, or at least a facet of a negotiation in helping people arrive at a price? What do you think?
Yeah, that's great. And hopefully the sales history feature can even expand on the usage at shows and trade nights and such, because I think that's a pretty big use case. Is like, oh, we've got this card, it's not on Card Ladder, but let's look it up and see what we can find. Marketing. Well, we're only such a big team, right? We're a pretty small team, and we never really were passionate about the marketing side. We kind of always leaned into our community and our word of mouth and organic traffic and stuff, and we feel like that's been pretty successful, and it just kind of grew naturally over time. And obviously I think joining Collectors is going to help on the marketing side. I mean, that's pretty obvious. I think they have a marketing team dedicated to this kind of stuff, and now that we are under their umbrella, they're going to be highly motivated to market Card Ladder and grow the product as much as we can, and then obviously grow it as it starts to integrate more into their products. So I don't know. I don't really have much else to say about that. I'm not a marketing guy, so.
Yeah, I think that's a terrific answer. We're obviously going to continue to do content. We're going to continue to market the hobby, support the hobby. That's always been our number one avenue of spreading awareness about Card Ladder, is just by using the data that Card Ladder provides to shed a positive light on the hobby itself. And, an interesting note, there's a lot of biased or noisy data out there, but one data set that's really difficult to manipulate is web traffic rankings. What is the level of traffic that goes to your website? And that you can use tools like Alexa, is one of the leading web traffic ranking websites. And as of the last few months, according to Alexa, Card Ladder is the leading data tool in the hobby when it comes to web traffic. The cardladder.com website is comfortably ahead of all of the competition in the data tool space when it comes to web traffic. So, not saying that there's not a whole bunch of other work that we still have yet to do. And Josh's point about teaming up with Collectors Universe and the resources and marketing and awareness that's going to bring to Card Ladder is going to help address Northwood's card collectors issue. But just to give ourselves a little bit of credit, setting aside numbers that can be inflated like subscriber counts and followers, if you really look at the hard data, which is web traffic, Card Ladder is the leading data tool. So check that for yourself on Alexa, guys. But just to give you a little bit of confidence there as well, that Card Ladder is pretty well known, but we will not obviously be satisfied until we're recognized by every dealer on every show floor. All right. Thank you for the question, and congratulations on the successful deal. All right. Cards and Candy 911, the MVP, says, will Card Ladder continue to track sales data for other grading companies, or will it only be PSA?
Absolutely. That is, I hadn't even thought that would cross people's minds, but I guess I understand why people are asking that, and that question's come up quite a bit. But there's no doubt about it. That was a big part of who we were before, and it's going to continue to be. And Collectors has been behind that from the beginning. Like they're big on data transparency on their end, and they're going to continue that, through us. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons we teamed up with Collectors. A lot of it's like the scale, but a lot of it's just that like our core values really lined up, and this is part of that this little subset of that is a big part of it, where we feel, the data accuracy, the transparency, the diligence put behind some of the data that they believe in is similar to how we think of it. So absolutely. And I think I saw somewhere that like competitors were excited that we wouldn't be doing that anymore. And it's like, you're just guessing? We're definitely doing that. Because like, I mean, if you think about it, like, yeah, we're going to continue to track PSA. Obviously, we're going to continue to track everybody. And, if PSA is really doing well and Collectors is doing well and we're helping that, it's just going to make it look even better, by comparison relative to the other ones. So, like, it just doesn't make any sense to, especially if we're catering to collectors, it doesn't make sense to, like, have collectors upload 60% of their collection, 40%, whatever their percentage of their collection is PSA. It doesn't really make sense to give them a full picture of their collection if we're only giving them 40% data. It doesn't make any sense.
No doubt. Card Insights 2 says that's not really an MVP question. Maybe he was just serving us up a softball, all right, so that we could get that issue taken care of, because there were a few questions to that effect. Yeah, just to make it crystal clear, Card Ladder will continue to track BGS slabs, SGC slabs, RAW cards, those good old raws. We'll continue to track all those and potentially expand into bringing in more grading companies and different slabs down the line as well. And that's part of the value proposition of Card Ladder, and it's important to a number of ways that our business operates, that we have as comprehensive as possible of a data set, and it only helps the more data that you can get out there. So I don't know about that, Lamine. Okay.
Do you have anything to say around? I don't know if you have a question. If you get to it, maybe you can just tell me. But do you have anything to say about the whole, like, us leaving the independents and teaming up? Potentially people thinking we're selling out. Anything around that sort of vein? Oh
yeah. Well, there's a few. Nobody asked about selling out. To our faces. Somebody did say a few things about that on Lameem's post. Thank you, Lameem, for just sort of being the net that catches all of the all of those comments. Okay, so but we do have a question. We have several questions that sort of get into specific parts of that. So like let me serve this one up first. Sweat47 says, is your ability to be critical of Collectors Universe and PSA affected by the acquisition? And let me take a stab at this while Josh is showing on Golden Site how to access the past search result, the past sales history by accessing a link at the bottom of the site. And Ken is emphasizing that once they're done migrating it, it will be on the new platform at the top. But in the meantime, you can get to the search results from Golden's page by accessing a link at the bottom. So let me try taking a stab at this question first regarding our ability to be critical of collectors or PSA. And, you know, to some extent, it is affected. We are now part of Collectors Universe, or Collectors, as Nat told us it's being branded now. We are a sister company, effectively, to PSA, for example. And that does instill a sense of loyalty and camaraderie and sort of a corporate familial relationship that means something and that's important and that's valuable. And so you should take that into account when you're consuming our content, knowing that we are now part of that collector's realm and we are under that umbrella. And we are going to be loyal to that brand and to that company. And obviously we think very highly of it. That's a big part of the reason why we were so excited to join and to jump at this opportunity. And that won't be too tough for us anyway. We already were pretty big fans of those brands anyway. But now, you know, that you should really keep that in mind. But by the same token, the integrity of the Card Ladder business in particular, and us as content creators, definitely depends on our ability to say things that are true and accurate and that are in the interest of the community. There's a business incentive and an authenticity incentive that motivate us to do that. So by the same token, we're not bringing value to Collectors Universe if we're not being authentic content creators and not following those same practices and procedures that got us to this point and that we will use to elevate and grow and further develop and hopefully add value to the hobby. So by the same token, while I certainly implore the audience to understand that we do have a loyalty and a fidelity to collectors, by the same token, we have an incentive to make sure that we do our jobs and create our content and vet our data and build our database by being as objective and as honest and above all as transparent as possible, so that we continue to make the best possible product we can make. So there's two sides to that coin, and obviously there's no reason to hide the fact that we are loyal to collectors and to PSA. But I feel like that's about the best approach that we can reasonably take. What do you think, Josh?
I don't want to add too much. I think you said it really well. I'd maybe just add that, you know, one of the reasons we ended up doing this, that it makes sense, is that we both feel that the whole team feels that this is in the best interest of the entire hobby and not just collectors and not just us. We feel that collectors plus Card Ladder plus all the stuff that, you know, Golden and all these other companies that they've already acquired, it's gonna improve the hobby overall. And there's a lot of problems that need to be solved in the hobby, from my perspective, on the data side, on the transparency side, and I feel we can more quickly solve those problems that we're hoping to solve with Card Ladder with the help of collectors. They'll be able to expedite some of that stuff that we've been working towards. They'll be able to give us resources that we wouldn't have otherwise. And so there's a lot of reasons that it's going to end up being a positive for the hobby. I know some people are, you know, I guess the main topic is like, is collectors going to become a monopoly? Are we going to have too many of the, you know, the Infinity Stone stuff thing going on? That's a tough one, I guess. I'm not sure. Like, I think I've said it before. Like, I just don't know enough, like, how monopolies work and how the market dynamics play out in those terms. I just see problems and I want to solve them. So, like, this helps me solve the problems faster and more efficiently and more accurately for collectors, and that's how I'm approaching it. So.
Great. Yeah. So let's tie into that and maybe unpack it a little bit. So, in Cardboard Veritas wants to know, or writes in to say, the crossover fans, Card Ladder users, and your hobby friends are excited about the Collectors Universe deal, but there is one legitimate undercurrent of concern, which is, more consolidation, and another great independent company in the hobby is getting gobbled up by the conglomerate. Obviously, the proof will be in the pudding, but what would you say to those who have that concern? My guess is that at least part of your answer includes confidence in Nat and in his vision for and commitment to the hobby.
Yeah. Man, it's really hard unless I have like something concrete to point to that says like this is worse because of the joining of the powers, especially in this case. So if there is something that you're feeling like, hey, I feel like since you guys joined with collectors, X has gotten worse. I would love to hear from that. And I know that collectors would love to hear the same thing. So it's really like, again, like I just thinking about it in terms of like what problems are we trying to solve, and also like what customers are we trying to serve, and how can we improve things. And if it's not better, then we need to fix that, right? That's the first thing. Am I off here? Like I'm trying to think of something concrete to say like, oh, this monopoly is bad. I guess in terms of like, I'm maybe thinking of like an Amazon or like a Walmart or something where you have issues with, paying employees too little because they have so many resources and they can just kind of dominate and make their own price on salaries and stuff like that. We don't have that issue right now. I don't think we're anywhere near that size. So I'm trying to like find other things to like point at other than just, big bad corporations, like that's really the only. I'll look for something concrete and then I'll respond at that point.
Yeah, I think that's a terrific answer. We've always been and will continue to be sensitive to feedback and to criticisms and critiques. And if in any way, shape, or form, as a byproduct of a consolidation, that the product that we're delivering is suffering, we're going to try and do our best to address that. But by the same token, and as Carvin rightly points out, this allows us to scale up and to build out our product and to see Card Ladder become what we always wanted to see it become, but we had gotten pretty close to reaching the upper limit of what we could do on our own. And we now being teamed up with the resources and the prestige and just the brain power over at Collectors, that unlocks a whole new world of potential. So I want to underscore Josh's point that we'll be very responsive to feedback and make sure and do our best to make sure that we continue only to improve our product. But B, on the flip side of this discussion, the consolidation actually also enables us to do an enormous array of new things that we weren't able to do before. And hopefully it helps collectors have access to new technologies and new efficiencies that we're going to bring into the fold as well. So that's the flip side of the consolidation coin, is that while there is, concern about consolidation and of power and influence, but on the other hand, there are good things that come with that, and not the least of which being access to new resources and us also bolstering what Collectors is able to offer. At the end of the day, the measuring stick for people providing services to the hobby is how good are the services that we're providing. And the goal here is to continue to provide better services, to continue to make the hobby more enjoyable, more fun, more rewarding, and help people get more out of it, right? So, but it's a great question and it's a worthwhile topic and it merits skepticism, and we'll all keep our eyes and our ears open. So
I watched a lot of the content of like reacting to the news yesterday, and a lot of them responded the way that you and I always do when we hear this news, which is like, I'm gonna wait and see. I have no idea what it is, which is great. I don't want people guessing. I did see some people like guessing what was gonna happen and just flat out like making things up, which is crazy. But you and I have this unique position where we're in the public and we're talking to people in the hobby every single day. Like the majority of our day is sort of entrenched in the community of the hobby, and we have the show where we can answer questions. So like, you guys have the opportunity to just like literally ask us anything. And Nat has, every time, if you've ever watched our interview with Nat, people ask him stuff and he like blurts it out when potentially it's like, should he have said that? Is regular grading coming back? So like, it's pretty much an open book. Like, we're just going to tell you the answer.
No doubt. Nat is both Nat and, to pay a compliment to Josh Luber, these are two very transparent people who are in two very important, influential positions in the hobby. I think we're spoiled by that a little bit, and it's worth just tipping the hats and acknowledging that we have two very transparent millennials. I'm not quite sure how old Josh is actually, but we have two very transparent young adults in great positions of power. Smart, transparent guys. Okay. Tiger Jordan 311.
The feedback through the site still goes to us. So
That's right. That's right. We can't wait to get all that feedback, especially Christina. Okay. Tiger Jordan 311 says, are there user experience enhancements that you intend to create by virtue of being acquired by Collectors Universe?
that's a good question. I think, Collectors has their goals that they would like to reach on the user experience and kind of bringing together the set registry and bringing together like the golden vault and, WADA grading and coins. Like they've got so much that I think, one of their big goals was to simplify things for their collectors and their customers and really bring things together and keep it very organized and easy to understand. And that's a big part of, where we come in is like simplifying the pricing and helping them understand comps and, data and all that kind of stuff. So I would say, our goal is to improve everything we have today and iterate on it and come out with new things, but also how can we actually make this simpler for all the collectors under this giant Collectors Universe umbrella and make things better for everybody, not just our own card letter customers. And I think, it's kind of a nice opportunity for us to make a bigger impact than we do today by improving user experiences and data collection across, a much bigger net.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, obviously we never tip our hand with respect to new features and new developments. We just like to make them and then release them. And we're going to have the opportunity to do even more of that than we already do under the CU umbrella.
Dude, we launched arguably two of our biggest features.
That's why that question was I was kind of like, damn. So we just like
what do we gotta do over here?
I thought we just roll out the ability to have a universal search bar into half a dozen platforms live listings that's never been done before in sports cards, and we roll out a 23 million past sales database, and people are wondering, are you going to enhance the user experience? We're trying, man. We are really trying, but yes, we will continue to try, and now we've got more resources at our back. So, all right, Card Cowboy Cap says, how does Card Ladder fit into Nat's master plan? And so we actually talked to Nat about this last night, right. We talked about this to Nat with Nat on the crossover last night, the special Thursday night edition. It's already on the YouTube channel, and it's on my Instagram page if you want to review that. I don't want to rehash that. That's like a 5-minute answer that he gave. Is there anything you just want to sprinkle on about how Card Ladder fits into Nat's master plan before we move on?
No, I think it's pretty simple, honestly. It's the Card Ladder product, the subscription model, and I think you may have hinted at like the Collectors Club integration, and then the pricing stuff. So other than that, nah.
Okay. Flippity Flip Card says, do you guys anticipate having any additional responsibilities, such as helping manage PSA set registries? And also, Nat alluded to helping grade if we pass the test. Okay, so what do you think about that? Are we going to have any additional responsibilities? Maybe, for example, with PSA?
Yes. I mean, we've been with them a week or so, right? And I've already been in meetings with different teams asking for, not asking for help, but like working together on things we can help each other with. And absolutely, like as if we didn't do enough, Chris, we have now more responsibility and more things we can do, which we're excited about. We relish the challenge, but definitely we've got a lot more on our plate now than we did before.
Definitely. Okay. PK Cards says, is there anything you guys can share on when you will get some help adding more cards to the database? I love the app, but I manually input most of my cards into the collection feature. Additionally, if I manually added a card to my collection and it is later added, how do I merge it? Thank you. Okay, so let me just take the first one here, which is that I know what you're saying because I have a 43 card Christian McCaffrey PC and card ladder, and I manually added every single one of them. So I know what you're saying. There's quite a bit of expansion in the database that can happen. Now, by the same token, we have 18,500 cards in the database. We recently ran a systematic analysis of what level of coverage we have of eBay as measured by dollars spent, and it was approximately 50% based on the results that we have. So we're tracking about half of eBay's sales right now if you measure it by dollars. So we actually have a pretty darn good level of coverage at 18,500 cards because we're tracking the right type of cards and because the cards we're tracking are on the more valuable side on average. So, we want to get to 100%, obviously. Even on like some of the more recent Golden auctions, for example, our coverage was in the 60 to 70% range, which is terrific, but, we want to get to 100. And so the question was, when we get some help, right? And very soon. So that's obviously one of the most appealing parts about teaming up with collectors, and that's something that collectors believes is important, is scaling the rate at which our database expands. So we're very much going to be working on that, but I can't set any deadlines because I just don't know what they are yet. But that's a very important part of this step forward, this path forward for us, is rapidly expanding the size of the database to be sufficiently comprehensive. And then Josh, A, if you want to add anything to that, and then B,
I do.
And then also after you're done with that, how does a user merge with a card, merge something from their collection to a card that's been added to the ladder?
I doubt that Nat is watching and that he will watch this, but watch this. You know how much of a great listener I am and advocate of the business I work for? Watch this.
Nice.
PSA.com/careers. If you want to help us, go to the site, apply to work for PSA collectors, and we would love to have some help. There's that.
Nice.
Second, that's going to be like our go-to, isn't it? Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
I guess so, yes.
All right. Second is I've got a card here that's not in the database, but let's say that it was added. I go to the menu on the card, and there's this neat little button option called Merge with Ladder. And then for here, you can search the card, find the card, hit enter. It's going to keep all your data, keep all your everything you inputted, and then it's going to merge in all the data we have on the ladder version of the card and continue to track your stuff going forward. You don't have to worry about it.
Awesome. All right, we have 2 more questions left on this on the acquisition topic. First one comes from Mikey the Breaker. He says, as a bootstrapped startup in the modern sports card world that has now been acquired, what is one piece of advice that you would give to any aspiring entrepreneurs in the sports card business?
That is an easy one, sir. First, I'm going to answer Ray's question. There you go, buddy. The answer is hard work. That is the only answer, and I will not accept any answer you give that is not. Work hard, put a ton of time into it, have passion for it, throw yourself at it. I can't remember the last time I wasn't thinking about this, to some degree, so you guys are probably the same. Anything to add?
No, I completely agree. Just make sure it's something that you're passionate about, that you love doing, and that you don't mind riding the highs and the lows of the entrepreneurial experience with, and that's that the reward and the enjoyment that you get out of it is front and center, an important part of it, because there's always, for anybody who has the skill set and the intelligence and the capabilities to be a successful hobby business, that person probably also has lots of other great opportunities in the real world on their plate as well. So the trade-off that you're making is some level of stability and security by working a more conventional job in exchange for being able to work in the hobby and do something unique and something that you're more passionate about. So as long as you understand that trade-off and the hobby is something you're passionate about and that you love spending a lot of time on and being involved with, and which is not hard. We love this community. We love being a part of this industry. So for us, it's a no-brainer, but that's the one thing I'd say is just make sure you're really passionate about it. And then like Josh said, make sure you work hard. And Christina wanted to chime in on this one, I think.
I wrote it in the chat.
Oh, she wrote it in the chat. She said, Christina says, choose teammates who will constantly push and challenge you. So
That's huge, man.
there you go. Yeah, team is
How's it?
so important.
Try to imagine doing card ladder without one of the five. Doesn't matter. Pick any of the five, and my head hurts a
I know.
lot thinking about that. And it's like it's kind of a cheesy like, oh, we do this as a team, but it's true. Like you can't do a lot. Most of the ideas you're gonna have, you're not gonna be able to do it alone. And you need to make sure you're partnering up with someone that you can trust that they're gonna work just as hard as you do. I think that's big, right? You have like a dual trust with each other that you're gonna see it through and you're going to deliver for each other and stuff like that. And this is like one of the big things I've always gained from Gary Vee. He's big on this topic right here, and it's like you just got to do it. You got to do it. Like no more talking about it. You can't just like dream about it and hope that it's going to happen. No one's going to do it for you. It's not going to fall into your lap. The idea, a lot of people have ideas. It's really about the execution and doing it.
Yeah, Miami Cards 84 sends to the chat. Who are the other two? So people know Christina, myself, and Josh. Obviously, the other two are Cole and Nick. Cole is a developer and a designer, and Nick is our chief content officer. Let me just say something about Nick, and then Josh can say something about Cole. Nick is the person who does all of the social media graphics and posts. He's the person who edits and creates all of the video and content otherwise. He and Cole collaborated on the Card Ladder logo. I mean, visually, everything you see is pretty much a byproduct of either Nick or Cole's creation or some combination of the two. When you see Card Ladder post 5 times a day to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and I guess that's all of them, or maybe there's a few more. That's Nick. And then when you see Sports Cards Culture episodes get turned around in 48 hours and have the production value of an ESPN show, that's also Nick. He's just an absolute, beast, and just like Cole is. Hat tip to Nick. For those who don't know, he's Stiff Arm Wax on Instagram. So, and then say a few things about Cole as well for those who don't know Cole.
Yeah, Cole is he's an amazing developer. One of the best I've encountered in my career, and I'm very picky about like my collection and how I put things together. I'm also picky about how code looks and how the development goes, and he's one of the few that I trust entirely to build things the right way and do things in a way that I trust. So I just have a lot of trust in him, and he gets stuff done very quickly. And he does all the designs on the app, on the Card Ladder Pro app, and most of the designs on like the website and stuff. So I'm not great with design, so without him it would be pretty rough. And he does all the design on the mobile app. He does a lot of developing on the website, the Pro app, the mobile app, all that stuff. So he does a ton. And then he is Mr. Toto Dingus on Instagram. Recently got him into collecting through Pokemon, and that's kind of why I bought the Charizards too. I was having some fun with him, getting into the Pokemon world. He's excited about that, so I thought I'd buy some to join him.
Awesome.
The two of them with their names.
Yeah, they both have unique names on social media. All right. They are definitely very creative in all realms. Okay. Last question on this topic is Kuma Bailey, who asks, and this is an appropriate last week. You see, I put these in order, on a certain order. Okay, Kuma Bailey's question is there any regrets in selling?
Yeah, now Nat Turner's my boss.
Right. Exactly right.
No, it's just like, but seriously, it's just like, I guess, the freedom of having like your own business that you can call the shot on entirely. And now we're going to have to be collaborating, and it's a positive as well. We're going to have to be collaborating with other people, and, we don't get to call the shots. It's a positive and a negative. I guess that's really the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's no regret because we took it as far as we could take it as 5 people. And now it's time to enhance card ladder with the resources of an entity like Collectors. It's just time for that. It's time to grow this card ladder product into the thing that we ultimately wanted it to become from day one. And it takes a level of self-awareness and humility to be able to say, we've raised this thing is to the level of maturity that we can raise it, and now we need some help. So I don't believe in regrets anyway, for the most part, but definitely no regrets here. Honestly,
No regrets.
no. And there's really not much more of a prestigious move that you could make, I don't think, than being able to come into the Collectors Universe fold. So, if anything, it's the opposite of regret. It's quite a lot of happiness and satisfaction at being able to join. Exactly, no regrets. It's quite a lot of bit of satisfaction to be able to join one of the very finest institutions in sports cards. So,
We're talking about 90s inserts now. Are we ready?
We are ready. Yam, fully bootstrapped, Yam. Okay. All right. Good. Couple of this or that questions. All right. So Dillick Cards says, I saw Golden post this question, and I wanted your thoughts too. Nat has the LeBron Exquisite Rookie 1/1 and the RPA out of 23. Which one would you rather have?
Oh, the 23 for sure. Isn't the 1/1? The 1/1 doesn't have an autograph or a patch. Give me an auto. Give me a patch.
Yep. I think that's right. Although there is a different wow factor to having the 1/1. Nobody else has that.
There he comes, Mr. 1/1.
So I just think that there is a different wow factor to the 1/1, because you know that there's not some other fund or entity or collector out there who has the other 22. So
There you go.
when you're really mountaintop level like Nat is, there's something to be said for the 1/1. But for me personally, I take the 23 because I'm not a LeBron mountaintop collector. I think the 23 is more valuable most likely, and I'd rather have the 23. All right. Cards and Candy 911 says, would you rather own a plain flagship rookie of a player or an aesthetically better looking second or third year card of the player?
Oh my gosh, that one's so easy. Cards and Candy knows our hearts. He knows us so well. Give me like a third year gold prism or gold refractor or exquisite. Gosh, I love that stuff so much. And I almost would prefer it to not be rookie so that I don't have to deal with the investor people fighting me over it. And I don't have to deal with the photos being photo shoot. I feel like by year, I understand why the rookie year is so important. I just don't get why it's so much more important. I feel like that's one of the rules I've always wanted to break. It's in the grand spectrum of cards, as long as it's playing year's cards and it's licensed by the league and they're playing, it's I wish I could just not focus on the rookie year stuff. I totally get it, right? If you have to pick one year, it should be the first. It's the peak of their sort of, the unknown of them and the prospecting of them. And it's a simpler time of, LeBron stealing that ball against the Kings and throwing it down. There's a lot of great fond memories of the rookie year. But, if I'm looking at a silver prism versus, a flawless autograph card or something from their second year, that one's easy.
Yeah, I agree. Something you kind of alluded to there is that the appeal of the rookie card is that it's a limited fixed quantity. The manufacturers have 1 year to make rookie cards for that player, and then it's done, and the rookie card era is over. And so that's very appealing. One of the appealing aspects of rookie cards, in addition to just this general idea that the first is the best, even if you look at the concept of the rights of use of water or things in our culture that are not even related to cards at all. First person to the scene, first discovery, often rules the day or carries the day. So there's just something we like about first. But Josh also said, as long as it's NBA license and player and playing years, then that's in consideration too for collectors. And that's right, because that also fixes the quantity. It's a different type of fixed quantity. It's not limited to a rookie year, but it's limited to NBA licensed playing years. And so there you've also fixed the quantity. But there maybe you're not going to focus so much on base cards, but you're going to focus on the really neat and exciting parallels. And the market's going to bear that out. So, like, for example, collecting young new prospects, a Trae Young 4th year Prism Black is maybe like a 15. That card just, I think it went for 15 grand.
8,000.
Or how much?
No, it was like 8 grand.
8 grand.
8,000.
Okay. 8 grand for a Trae Young 4th year Prism Black recently sold.
Yep.
And if I were to go to Card Ladder and type in Trae Young on the ladder and filter this, so I'm just going to filter this to, 7,500 to 8,500. And let's
2017. Or 20.
Oh, I spelled his name. Trae Young, 7,500 to 8,500. Okay, so the two competing cards there are his 2018 Prism Choice Red PSA 10, which is out of 88. That's his rookie choice red PSA 10. That's an $8,300 card. Or his 2018 Mosaic Gold BGS 9.5. That's a $7,600 card. So, like, that's the comparison you're making. You can literally get what somebody like me would say is the best card that Trae Young will have for his 2020-21 season, actually his 3rd year. The best 3rd year Trae Young card you can get is Prism Black 1-of-1. Some will disagree. Some will say it's an NT or an Immaculate 1-of-1 or something. But to me, the Prism Black is the king. You can get that, or you can get like a 2nd or a 3rd tier Trae Young rookie. There's something to be said about going and getting the very best Trae Young 3rd year card rather than a 2nd or a 3rd tier 1st year card. So,
yeah, and to expand on that, the place that we've seen the biggest dip and the biggest like frustration of people in the hobby right now with prices going down is that sort of, more obvious rookie year sort of plain stuff, and this more rare niche, interesting stuff like you're pointing out here is the stuff that's held up or even gone up in a lot of cases in the last few months. And that Trae Young Black is a perfect example of this. Like, I just, I don't see a world where, like, there's not going to, for Trae Young collectors out there, where there's not going to be some demand to have his 3rd year Prism Black. Like, it's just always going to be there. And if there's going to be demand, there's only one choice. Like, this is the only one, versus like a Prism Silver where there's, freaking 2,000 of them. It's just a whole different ballgame. It's a different way to approach it. And, I'm not saying one is definitively better in a vacuum. It's just that, like, if you're looking at some of the fundamentals of what makes the hobby successful and move forward with collectors, it's stuff like this, like these little sort of unwritten rules and oddities to it. This is something that's important to us as collectors.
Definitely. And so I'll give one other example that's personal to me. So Christian McCaffrey right now, his Prism PSA 10, which is a pop 972, his rookie Prism is $150 as a PSA 10. I can also get his non-rookie year 1-of-1s, some of them from like off-brand products, for $150 all day. I would much rather have his 3rd year 1-of-1 from, Absolute or something, rather than one of the 972 copies of his Prism PSA 10. That's just my collector preference, but it's always a question of opportunity cost. What's the best way that you can collect? And to me, that the $150 buys me a lot more enjoyment if I'm scooping up a 1-of-1. But that's just me. Obviously, people collect in many different ways. All right. Preston's card says, would you recommend selling through Instagram? And if so, how can you safely sell? Whether you're selling by meeting up with someone locally or you're selling and you have to ship the card. How do you safely do it?
Sure. Well, it's obviously different depending on, how big your reach is, how big your network is. But if I'm just sort of guessing at like the average follower count and network size, I would say just, kind of pretty keep it simple and stick to PayPal goods and services, stick to, USPS 2-day shipping or FedEx overnight if the card is more expensive, which we've talked about at length on the show. And another thing you can do is get vouchers between the two parties, like make a post or, get people to say like, this person's reliable, this person is reliable on this side and this side, and make sure everyone feels good about it. I would say like, you can't do too much. You can't do too many things to make you feel safe and comfortable with the deal before doing it. I'd rather you go over the top before making the transaction than I would, having to backtrack and feeling like crap that you screwed up. So just spend the time doing the vouchers, doing the security things for yourself, and PayPal goods and services. Like, I know a lot of people are like, pooping on PayPal for whatever reasons. It gets shut down, taxes, all these different, like, there's a reason that it exists. It's a very secure way to send money to each other, and they take their fees for that service. So it's a safe way to transact money.
Definitely. Yeah, there's really no shortcuts to doing your background checks on the person that you're dealing with. Never be afraid to ask for a vouch, even if it's awkward or even if the person's slightly offended. I've been asked for vouchers, and it does irritate you a little bit. You're like, what? Like, I've done 100 deals with people on this Facebook group. What do you mean? But I'll go do the vouch because I want to get the deal done. So, or I'll go ask for people to get vouchers for me. You know what I mean? So, ask for vouchers if you're unsure of the person, and conduct yourself with integrity, conduct yourself with fairness, put yourself in the other person's shoes to the extent that that's possible. And just know that it's never going to be perfectly safe, just so that we're all clear on that too, but that you have a lot of recourse available, especially if you do what Josh said. You do goods and services. You make sure that when you're shipping, you get a tracking number, obviously, and you insure the package, obviously, and you input the tracking number into PayPal, obviously, and that, you're willing to put the time into a dispute resolution if you need to, which doesn't happen often, but it does happen sometimes. So
I love the tracking number tip. I wish everyone followed the same rules of like being very quick on the responses back and forth. Like, until the deal is finished, be responsive, make sure the deal is done. Try to get shipping and the label printed immediately and give them tracking immediately. And then have the person confirm back and forth they got the payment. Like, I like this constant sort of over communication until the card is in hand and the money's in the other account. Like, over communication is good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something too that, like, I learned this about 5 years ago when I was first starting, and somebody sold me a card, and they laid out without telling me, I just observed the way that they handled it, and it was beautiful. So, like, and this is a little bit over the top, but I bought the card. It was for a few $100, and as soon as we agreed on the price, and I sent the money, then here's what the seller did. He took a picture of the card next to my address written on a sticker that was going to be affixed to the packing envelope. Then he took a picture of the card wrapped up in bubble wrap, once again next to the address. And then he finally took a picture of the whole thing packaged together with my address stuck on it. Okay. And then when he went and shipped it, as soon as he shipped it, he sent me a picture of the receipt along with the tracking number, and then was with me every step of the way. And then as a buyer, as soon as I got the package, I wrote to him to let him know that I got it. So some of the stuff he did is maybe a little over the top. Do you need to take a picture of the receipt? No, you can just send the tracking number, but take the time to type out the tracking number and send it to the person. Just do the extra little thing that you would be very happy if somebody did for you, and you're going to have a smooth deal. And the more, the more length that you go to have and facilitate a smooth deal, the better it's going to work out for you. And, the easier you'll be able to sniff out people who aren't worth dealing with, because you'll notice right away that some people don't reciprocate that effort. So
I want to be friends with that guy or girl.
Yeah, he's not in the hobby anymore, man. He was a big Jordan insert collector for a while, and then he left before the market went crazy. So,
dang.
Yeah, it's too bad. Okay, all right. In Cardboard Veritas says, can you describe the holiday effect on the sports card market, and how about post-holiday? So, do you have any thoughts on this?
I do. We weren't really able to look at the statistics of this last year because 2020, was just so nuts at the end of the year. Like, prices went up during the holidays, but traditionally, yes, prices do go down during the holidays. And not only do like average prices go down, but sales volume, like overall transactions and like activity goes down quite a bit because people are with family, they're focused on buying other things not related to themselves and their hobbies. They're focused on buying things for other people and Christmas gifts and Hanukkah gifts and all this kind of stuff. So yes, definitely. And also like all the sports are like in primo full boat activity mode with, NFL playoffs coming up and basketball's in full swing and there's off-season baseball talk and hockey is going on right now and there's just a lot going on in the sports world. So I would say for sure this is usually like one of the bigger lulls of the year.
Yep, definitely. And then, okay, and what about post-holiday? And, one thing that's interesting about this particular holiday season that I'll note too is like none of the normal product is coming out. Like this is the time of year when the new Prism basketball is hitting the store shelves, and it's just not, and it's not going to come out for 4 more months, and that's just there's no energy for the new product that is always here during this cycle, this part of the season. So, but in what happens, in your experience after we push through the end of December, push through the new year, then how does the energy start to move in the hobby after that?
Remember like 2017, 2018, 2019, you and I would talk every year and I'd be like, dude, buy Jordan and LeBron during the holidays and watch it go crazy in February and March. Every year it happened, right? You and I would be like, oh my God, why don't we just buy more stuff, especially of the GOATs in like November, December, and watch it just go crazy. Remember that? It's just like every year it seemed like it happened.
Yeah.
So traditionally, yes, like it starts to pick up around like February, March, and April. So I don't know, man. We're just in like a totally new world of the hobby. It's really hard for anyone to be like, prices go down here and they go up here always, and basketball goes down in the finals and it goes up in preseason. Like it's hard to like make those predictions anymore. There's so much data available to us that you can just, go on Card Ladder, look at the card, look at the traditional, all-time sales history graphs and stuff and try to figure it out. But I don't know. I'm not big on making giant bold predictions about, hey, the prices are going to go up in February, guys. We're all going to be saved. We don't know that. What if the stock market crashes and inflation still goes crazy and gas prices go up and whatever? I don't know.
Yep, I completely agree. I will say this. Last year, there was, even with all the differences that are different from this year and last year and this year have followed the same sort of peak in August,
Yeah.
and then retreat throughout the rest of the fall. And we all remember what happened in the hobby following the peak in August and the retreat in the fall. We all remember what happened in January, February, and March. So obviously, like at that time, the pandemic picked back up again. People were stuck at home, and that's not happening as much. There's a lot of differences, obviously, but it wouldn't totally shock me if the pattern continued and we saw, this fresh energy in the hobby in the new year, just the same way we saw it last year. But I just hope that we don't see an irrational exuberance where stuff like a Michael Jordan Fleer PSA 9 86 card, goes to 90,000 only to retreat back to 30,000 a few months later. So I hope we can rein in the irrational exuberance a little bit. I think we will, because I think so many of the new entrants to the hobby are more seasoned and experienced. But it would not surprise me if we followed that pattern that we saw last year and we once again see an influx of new energy in the hobby in January, February, March of this year. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think, it feels like there's a general sense of sort of overall negativity right now in terms of, in general, the prices are going down on a lot of stuff. And I have friends that have bought stuff and they're losing money on it or whatever. So I get the frustration. I get that. And I would be great if, prices crept back up on some stuff and people started getting more excited about it again. But I still feel like overall, there's still like the same level of excitement about the overall hobby in terms of people searching for new rare items to add to their collection, or people finding a new area to explore that they hadn't before, or some new revelation they've had that they're excited about. So I think there's always just this constant ups and downs of everything, just like anything else. And the only other thing I wanted to add was like there's a lot of content out there that's like trying to tell you what's going to happen next. And let me let you in on a secret. Nobody knows if it's going to go up, down, sideways. It's one of my favorite scenes of Wolf of Wall Street when Matthew McConaughey's like, stockbrokers don't know if it's going to go up, down, sideways. Like we have no idea. All we know is we want to make commission, right? So it's like it's the same thing here where a lot of the content, they just want to get your attention. They want you to pay attention to what they have to say. They want your your money, your subscription, whatever. When they don't actually know what's going to happen, if they did, like they'd be trillionaires and they wouldn't be making content trying to convince you of something. So just keep that in mind and just try to approach it a little bit of a different angle than trying to just guess all the time, and maybe just think about it like, how can I have fun with this, and what's something that I'm not worried about if it goes down 30% over the next few months, and what's something I feel good about really long term.
Absolutely. In response to In Cardboard Veritas's original question, Ken Golden chimes in that November and December historically are the worst 2 months for him in his 30 years. And that's why Golden is taking a lower key approach to auctions in November and December. Now, you mentioned something that sparked a thought for me. You said people are taking interest in new categories and new parts of the hobby. And sometimes that can become exhilarating and creates FOMO but a lot of excitement in a strong market. Well, one card came on my radar because it climbed to the top of the card ladder submissions. And anytime a card like that's off the beaten path gets to the top of card ladder submissions, I'm like, this is here for a reason. Something is happening here. And so here's the one that I'm referring to. This card, this Luke Skywalker 1977 Star Wars PSA 10. This card in a PSA 8 jumped to the top of card ladder submissions last week, and I was dumbfounded as to why. So I actually added the PSA 8 first, and I was like, nothing crazy is going on with this. But then when I got to the PSA 10, so looking at the sales history on card ladder, this card sold for $6,800 in January of last year. And then it recorded a sale on eBay 2 weeks ago for $55,000. Now, this PSA 10 is a Pop 9 of this 1977 Skywalker, and this is card number 1 in that set. And I've learned through doing my research that this is a pretty sought-after set among non-sports card collectors, especially people who are enamored with pop culture and Star Wars cards. But still, for a card to go from $6,800 in January of last year to now $5,500 2 weeks ago, over 18 months, that's an enormous appreciation. And you know what else? I haven't seen a single other PSA 10 come up for sale in the meantime. I can just check right here. Nothing else on eBay at this time. If I had free hands, I'd go over to the shop function.
No, wait. Refresh and then scroll down on this page.
Okay, hang on.
I might just blow your mind right now.
Nice.
Scroll down.
Scrolling down.
See, there's no way. I think so. Pick a common card and do this little exercise again. I think we added the shop directly into the card profile.
Oh, nice. Okay. I wonder if this is common enough. Is this because I was just looking at this? Is this common enough?
Oh yeah.
PSA 10. Okay, and then scroll down.
Dang it, it's not there yet. Okay. Well, we're gonna put shop listings on the card profile. Sorry, go ahead.
Nice. Okay, so all I'm saying is I would go over to shop, or I would just use this new feature that you just described once we add it in. And I bet that if I went to shop and I looked up this card, it's not for sale anywhere. But it's a Pop 9, and so this is that, this is a new wave of collecting. And Josh Luber has been talking about this for a while. Pop culture figures, he's big on Jimi Hendrix cards, and there are some really cool firsts of things out there. And obviously this is card number 1 from, I think, the first Star Wars set. I'm not sure. I'm not in no way, shape, or form a subject matter expert on that. But to see a card go from $6,000 or $6,800 to 55 grand. You know, it just speaks to that. And there's always these segments of this hobby that are doing that. It's just sometimes people know about it, sometimes they don't. So pretty exhilarating to see something like that happen. All right.
Dude, this hobby is nuts, right? Like we don't have to like wait for someone to solve a problem. Like these cards already exist. There's already tons of really awesome cards in all these different segments. You know, PSA and BGS are grading these cards already. They're already out there. You just gotta find it. You gotta be creative and you gotta think about it. I just wanted to address one other super quick thing and we'll move on. I've heard in passing that some people are turned off a bit by us sort of shaming non-collectors. You know what I mean? Like saying like, hey, if you're not a collector, you're not doing it right. That is absolutely not the angle we want to take on that. I think the thing that we wanted to push is like, if you are just strictly an investor or a flipper, which is totally fine, you should try to learn some of the things that we talk about in terms of how collectors approach things. Because I think if you can learn, why collectors collect what they do, and if you learn sort of the foundational pieces of it, you'll be a better investor and a better flipper. So like you can glean things from the show, and you can learn, digest things that we say and become better at any aspect of the hobby, not just like, oh, here's how you be the best insert collector because that's the only thing Josh and Chris like. I've heard stuff like that, and it's absolutely not true. We just try to teach the foundational pieces of what we know is successful in all aspects of the hobby, not just collecting.
Totally. And the shrewdest and the wisest investors and flippers who are not so much interested in building collections but are more interested in operating in the entrepreneurial side of sports cards, the very best ones at doing that are the ones who understand collecting. And that's because trying to participate in the sports card market without understanding the fundamentals of collecting, when this is a collectibles market, is analogous to trying to watch basketball without knowing what traveling is or what a three-pointer is.
Or investing in stocks and not knowing like how businesses work.
Yeah, or not understanding what an earnings report is, and not understanding what a dividend is and why that matters. Trying to get involved in sports cards but not learning the fundamentals of collecting is going to be difficult. And the best way that we can add value as content creators is to do that, to share and demonstrate what we as collectors know and what we like and what we think about, not generalize for a way or try to create universal truths, but just expound on our experiences as collectors, because this is a collectibles market and the principles of collecting will always be operational.
Boom.
Okay. Let's go. And all of our teams lost tonight. Chat.
Yeah, I don't shut up. Shut the fuck up. All of you. The freaking Zane came in here just to rub it in that the Lakers lost and the freaking Suns lost. I'm already like trying really hard not to be pissy about it, so.
Dude, the Mavs lost to the Pelicans by like 20.
That's not that funny, Josh.
Well, I have pain. You have pain. We all have pain.
We all have pain. The chat's like, yeah, you might have done a deal this week, but your teams got smoked. Luke Kennard just roasted you.
I feel like I was rolling on that little rant right there, and I just looked down, and it's like, Lakers lost, Suns are going to blow their win streak, you fucking loser. And I'm like, great, thanks, guys. That's what I love. This hobby just humbles me all the time, don't they?
All right. Nick's Basketball PC says, what is a card that you love for a specific reason? For example, I love Sam Vincent's 1990 Hoops card because it depicts Michael Jordan wearing the number 12. So let me see if I can pull up a picture of that card. And do you have any cards that resonate with you on that level?
I do. I have. Go ahead and show the Vincent. I have a really good answer because we think of these specific questions, but I've got something.
Yes, we do. Okay, well, all right, I pulled up the Vincent here. This card is well known among Jordan collectors because he's not wearing number 23 because that jersey was stolen before the game. so we had to switch and wear number 12. And this is 1990 Hoops, Sam Vincent's card, perfectly enough, 223. And the PSA label even says shows Michael Jordan's. You know, that's why people care about this card. No offense, Sam Vincent.
Your tiny hand is like barely covering the numbers on that fucking label. I have a challenge out to Mr. Ken Golden to find that 23 jersey that was stolen and auction that. How cool would that be?
Wow, that would be really cool.
All right, I have one. Search it for me. 1996 finest refractor Kobe Bryant. This is why it's such a good answer. It's gonna shock you because I don't collect Kobe Bryant. I'm not the biggest fan of Kobe Bryant, but I've always loved this card.
So which one are we? The gold one or the?
Not the gold. Nope. The breaking through. Because when I first got into the hobby when I was a kid, I just remember seeing this in all the Beckett magazines, and it was just like it was a very featured card in Beckett, and I always thought it was just such a cool card because it's like it's not really an in-game photo. It's like a more unique design, and it kind of spoke to me in terms of like the card design and the card aspects, and not necessarily the just like the basketball part of it. And it had the peel, and it was super shiny, and it's young Kobe. One of these days I'm just gonna buy that card just because it's always been such a nostalgic thing for me. So that's my answer.
Nice, good answer. I don't have a good answer to this question, so I could just like shill for some of the cards that I own because I've invented stories about why I like all those, but we would know that's exactly what I'm doing. So let's just bypass that. All right, and I think that question came up in part because this Ja Morant card that has young Dolph on the card who recently passed away. So, yeah.
There's also the card with the Killing Brothers on it.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Mendes Brothers card, yes.
Mark Jackson.
That's another good example. Yeah, Mark Jackson, that's right.
That is the worst box of cards ever, and I haven't opened that much wax, but if you've ever opened, I think it's 1990 Hoops. It is just like a hot mess of cards. It's just like you get through it and you're like, man, I just feel dirty. I should just burn all of these.
Right. Okay. Drake's PC says, Drake always comes up with a very thoughtful question. This one did not fall short of his standard. Most new
I'm ready to think.
collectors, yeah, definitely. He says, most new collectors who re-enter or enter the hobby typically start off going for liquid commodity type of cards. If more and more people are coming into the hobby, as we are being told, but the value of those cards continues to decrease, what is that telling us? Are the new entrants more educated, or are the number of entrants less than we are being led to believe, or is it something else? What do you think?
Well, I think the rate at which people are flooding into it has decreased greatly. I think that's a big part of it. Like the reason that stuff went up so much is there was FOMO from people outside the hobby to come into the hobby and get rich from it really easily and quickly. And that's the stuff that they were told. It's like, oh, this is the easiest thing to buy. You'll get rich. And there's a huge flood of that in February and March to just, do that easy task. And there's a lot less of that happening. And the people entering now are in smaller numbers, and they have more data tools to show them that like that stuff isn't performing as well. And so they're forced to come in a little bit more slowly and figure things out. I don't know. That's just kind of my, that's what I came up with. That's what I got.
Yep. I just want to add on two things to that. I think that's very true. The part of the answer to this question is both more education, but also and more opportunity to look at data, but also less irrational exuberance, and maybe even less people in the short term as well. Another part of it, though, is that I think dealers are a huge part of propping up the price of commodity cards. Dealers love, not all dealers, but some dealers love the concept of just having piles and piles and mountains of PSA 10 pristine copies of the same card and being able to liquidate it very quickly, even if it's selling it to another dealer. And I think dealers have finally, at least some of them, lost the desire to pile up these commodity cards in PSA 10. And I think when the dealer demand for the commodity PSA 10s atrophied, that's when the market really started being unable to absorb the supply that was constantly hitting it. So I think as dealers, as some subsection of the dealer population has transitioned to becoming believers in the high end and the more rare cards, I think that is a part of why commodity cards aren't performing as well. That has nothing to do with how many new people are coming into the hobby or not coming in. And then it was mentioned in the chat, KPB card says no good cheap grading option hurts as well.
Yep.
That's extremely true. That's
Yep.
that the grade and flip game was infusing so much capital into the hobby,
Yep.
and we haven't had it for 9 months.
Yep.
And when that comes back, it's going to take some time, I think, for that ecosystem to stabilize, because we've been without it for so long. But if and when that we do get a cheap, viable grading option that comes back, and once again, the ability to turn a $10 raw card into a $100 PSA 10, once that capability returns, I just think that's going to have very it's going to create an upward pressure on prices, and it's going to infuse a lot more liquidity into the hobby once more.
100%. Yeah, I would just say, a lot of these questions are coming from I'm not saying this is from Drake specifically, but, a lot of these questions are kind of coming out of fear of like, is this going to keep going down for a while? Are we entering a phase where, cards aren't going to be as popular? I just think like you and I are behind the scenes of a lot of this stuff. We know how much activity is happening. We know like some of the moves being made on the business side and some of the players at hand and stuff. And like, there's just so much positivity going on in the hobby behind the scenes and in the public that I just, I feel very, very confident this is we'll see some ebbs and flows. We'll see some downs and stuff, but like, just stick with it. Like if you're having fun with it and you like it, just keep going. Just have fun with it. Keep going. And I think there's definitely going to be times in the future where this thing booms again, and all the YouTube video open mouth guys are going to jump back in and tell you everything's up forever. Like that, those moments will come back. It may be a while, and we're not sure when it will happen, but I guarantee you it will happen again. And just stick with it.
Yeah, right on. It doesn't take a whole lot of people to invigorate a market. If you just add even a few hundred new, well-capitalized and excited bidders to a marketplace, that can rapidly transform it. And I think that might be exactly what we saw happen about 9, 10, 11 months ago. Okay, the Cardfather 13 wrote a question to the chat that was pretty neat. He said, what tips or recommendations would you give to someone about creating and producing consistent daily sports card content for the hobby?
Oof. Man, you should ask Cage and Andrew about that. They make daily content, which is incredibly difficult. So hats off to those guys. That is tough to do. You and I know how hard it is to not only like get motivated to make content every day, but like make quality content and find new things to talk about that much. Like the crossover works out nice because we always have something. There's always hot topics to talk about built up over the week. But if we had to do this every day, it would be a lot harder. So I would just say, like, you have to love it. You have to want to do it. That's really like if you're forcing yourself to do it, it's just not going to work. If you're doing it because of some other motive other than like you enjoy it, it's not going to last. So you have to just love it. You got to find a topic that, like, think of something where you would want to talk about something every day, and you have things to say every day. If you don't, eventually that's going to wear off, and it's going to fade, and people are going to start to recognize that you're not genuine and organic about it, and you're going to suffer. So I don't really have much else to say other than you have to enjoy it.
Yeah, daily is really tough, especially if you're making personality driven or putting yourself out there type of content. Wow, I wouldn't even recommend that. I don't think that's reasonable. Weekly feels a lot more reasonable. And we have 2 weekly shows, I guess, so 2 different things a week seems pretty reasonable. But Card Ladder does put out daily content, but it's very formulaic. You know,
Yeah.
It's just a specific brand of content that always has renewing information. So the brand of the content is spotlighting interesting and exciting cards that are having noteworthy sales, and
Yep.
those happen every night. You know, somewhere between 20 and 200 all-time highs happen in the sports card business across all the different marketplaces every day, every freaking day. And so we've got very easy formula to whereas Nick, our chief content officer, goes to the headlines and picks out 3 of them or so, and he, you know, is able to generate content surrounding them. So if you can figure out a way to formulaically, you know, produce content that's interesting and but that doesn't drain you of your creative energy, but that has like it's renewable content, I guess is a way to describe it. Maybe that's a hack that you can do.
I like that I'll pick out one thing, which is like find ways to automate it and reduce the things that you hate about making daily content and focus on, you know, the content itself and what makes it fun. And
Yeah.
that's a great point. Like find ways to, you know, upload to multiple podcasts at once so you're not having to spend, you know, tedious hours of your life doing all these tasks you hate as part of that process. And how do you automate it? That's good. Use technology.
Right on. Okay. Dillick Card says, when selling on eBay and somebody does not pay when they win an auction of yours, what should the normal protocol be? I will give them until Saturday to pay, and then I will cancel and relist the item on Sunday and block them. Is that overboard?
No. Shame.
Okay, but
Shame.
sometimes people forget that they like won, and they're not on eBay all the time, and you know they work a lot, and they might have 2 jobs, and and you need to send that extra reminder email to them to tell them like, hey, like don't forget you won this, and be nice about it. Don't be a jerk. Because I would have paid double for the auction, but I won.
Did this happen to you?
Yes, recently.
What kind?
I won a maxi, and I forgot that like I had bid on it, and then it got a little busy the last couple weeks. And
You're a bad eBayer.
I'm a horrible eBayer, but like, yeah.
Oh Lord. South wants to know, Christina, did you ever get your Maxi 1 of 1? Your NT Maxi 1 of 1?
I did. It's on its way.
She did. It's on its way. She did get it. Yeah.
Shame.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's okay to be harsh with eBayers because you know what? They're messing with your time and your money. And that should never be taken lightly, notwithstanding what Christina just said.
I wrote
There's
a
just
really
so many-
nice email to him back apologizing and he was very kind about it. But like,
Okay, then you can make an exception in the case of a Christina who, you know, has a good excuse.
The majority of the non-payers are like hey, my kid bid on accident, I want to cancel, or you know, the card's gone down in value, can you cancel for me?
Yeah, card porn wouldn't even have any content if those people didn't exist.
There's so much of it.
Okay.
There's so many of those. Yeah.
Christina might have been on Card Porn's bad eBayers post.
It says like Maxi collector. It's like, I wonder who that is.
Okay, Christina, Nick wants me to talk about the 5 mosaic boxes.
no, what? I hate him.
All right, let me tell you a little story. All
You
right.
don't need to, like, really, this doesn't need to, okay.
Oh, this is about wax. I'm gonna take a nap.
By the way, Christina was building this.
I have a little advent calendar.
This is what Christina's been working on in her spare time. Okay, no nap. Just Christina said she bought 5 boxes of 2018 status basketball, but instead 5 boxes of 2019 mosaic basketball showed up today, and we checked the receipts, and sure enough, she bought mosaic, just wasn't really sure why Mosaic showed up until it turned out that she actually bought Mosaic. So once again, Christina, by the way, great scanner. Christina, you know, asleep
Which
at the
is better?
wheel when she's buying cards.
Which box is better?
Oh, the 2018 Mosaic for sure.
Status.
I mean, look, I just did it too.
Look,
2018
Is it more
status.
expensive?
look, David
No.
Adams was having a Black Friday sale. I jumped on it and I thought I was buying status and I was like super eager to like push through the order. And it turns out I accidentally ordered Mosaic. But I mean, again, I've been a little busy, guys.
But don't worry, we're keeping the boxes.
Oh, we're totally keeping.
So are you guys,
They were still a deal.
Chris?
Like they were.
Are you guys flying to? Are you guys gonna be flying to Florida instead of California here soon?
We better double check that, huh?
So it's like, you know, Josh, like I run your business pretty freaking well, okay? Like, so you really want to get into like who's dropping the ball on stuff? Because it's not freaking me.
Only when she buys cards.
I hope Mosaic gives you better results than whatever status would have given you.
Yep, well, we have 5 Mosaic boxes now. Zion rookie year, or Morant rookie year, we should start calling it now. All right,
Bring one of those to Cali.
there you go. Yeah, definitely. Okay,
Maybe
That sounded.
I'll do some kind of like giveaway to my new coworkers to make them like me.
oh, and
Smart.
now she's bribing people.
Yeah, I bribe. I have no problem. I'm not above bribing people to like me.
Okay, all right. There's another pearl of wisdom for today. All right. Guess we can do a few more here. Cards and Candy 911 says, discuss how collectors deal with their PC player going out for the year. For example, Michael Porter Jr. or Christian McCaffrey. That's when you start buying, bud. That's when you look and see who, if there's any, and usually it's not a great time to buy because nobody wants to sell then. But if you get lucky, that's great. But it's a little bit different with modern active players who are still building their careers because you don't know how their career is going to pan out. And then it's also scary when they get hurt. But, you know, there's two sides to every coin. On the one hand, you say, oh, is Michael Porter Jr. or Christian McCaffrey, if they reach a point where they're injury prone. But on the other hand, you say Christian McCaffrey basically played not at all over the last 2 years. So any concern about workload that normally would be foisted upon a running back doesn't apply to him because he's only actually played about 3 to 3.5 years worth of seasons, whereas most running backs at his age will play 5. So it also sort of extends his prime, assuming that he's able to stay healthy. So there's different ways to look at it. You know, and it just kind of depends upon what your risk tolerance is and what you know, ultimately value in the hobby. To me, though, I'm really hoping this is an opportunity to pick up some excellent McCaffrey cards. But, you know, the nuances matter too. So like South points out, McCaffrey's injuries aren't major, whereas MPJ's is potentially structurally a serious injury. So you got to dig into that stuff too. So I don't know, do you want to comment on it all? Maybe shed some, you know, because around the time I got into McCaffrey, you got into Michael Thomas. And then Michael Thomas has been out for like the last year or two as well. But I don't think you weren't as passionately collecting Thomas as I was McCaffrey. So maybe you could give a different take on that and how that worked out for you.
Oh, I sell them all. I sold all my Michael Thomas. I'm like, I'm out. I don't like this. This is too much. Dude can't even get on the field. I like to sell quick, get out of there. But you know, I'm not gonna tell other people to do that. Cost average down, dude. That's the isn't that the fun phrase that all the investor bros like to say? Cost average down.
I guess so. Although, you know, that presumes that you're buying cards that can be cost averaged.
True.
But yeah, so there's a cornucopia of different opinions on this. You can cut your losses, which is maybe not the wrong approach, because cutting your losses takes advantage of the fact that the way that pricing in the hobby works, it cascades down. Pricing very rarely goes from, 100 to 0. Instead, it goes from 100 to 80, then 80 to 60, then 60 to 40, unless it's like an Andrew Luck type of situation or something like that. So
Bobby made a great post about that, remember?
yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah, so I like to sell on that second step of the ladder.
Yep, there you go. And then you cut your losses. And or maybe, if in the macro the hobby has been expanding, maybe you're not even down. Maybe you're up on the cards.
I'm more harsh, I guess. I'm more of like make the harsh, quick decision. But with like Chris Paul and LeBron, I don't really have to worry. Like if they got injured, it doesn't really matter. They've already played so much. But like, yeah, if it's a younger guy or like there's some issue with the person I'm buying, and it's like I kind of jump out earlier. That's just kind of like my harsh reality way of doing it.
Yep, definitely. And as the chat is pointing out, there's plenty of players who have had this happen to them. DeAndre Hunter is brought up. Zion was brought up. This is part and parcel of collecting active, especially young active players.
Would you sell your Zion PC if it wasn't like if you're not like a active collector and you're just sort of like prospecting on Zion? Would you sell everything now?
Well, let me see what the Zion player index is doing right now, because that would inform my decision. So let me see here.
I think it's not going down that much.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I don't think it's gone down a ton. So I'm on Card Ladder right now. And the reason why Zion's index looks crazy is because his cards were very expensive out of the gate. Let me zoom into last year. All right, so over last year, this is about what Zion's graph looks like. And in other words, the price of Zion's cards in December of 2020 is the same as the price of Zion's cards in December of 21, with some mountains in the middle there. And, over the last month, he's down 5%, and over the quarter, Zion's down 11%. So, but, if you bought Zion cards a year ago, you're at break even. So if I'm speculating on Zion, the one thing I'm going to look at is like, I can probably cut bait and be okay. But on the other hand, as Quinton points out in the chat, what happens when he's finally back? And he was, when he was playing last year, I mean, I don't even think he's played a full rookie years. I don't think he's played 82 games yet as an NBA player.
He hasn't.
So what happens when he does come back and he's 50 games or 40 games into his return, or less, 10 games into his return, and he's putting up 30 points a game, and he's, I think he shot the highest percentage in the paint or in the restricted area in NBA history during last like, dude, when he comes back, he's probably going to be awesome. And so maybe that's the time that I would look to sell.
You're just so much more of an optimistic person than I am. I would just sell everything I own right now.
Because you can move on to something else, right?
No, I don't like risk. I don't like the unknown. I just don't like it. It makes me nervous, and I don't like having excess risk in my life. And at any level, I just don't like it. Like, Chris Paul is so not risky that it's laughable. Like, people are like, he's got to win a championship or else. Are you kidding? The guy's like, he's like a 6-foot point guard, and you're expecting him to like take down Durant and like all these like legendary I just like, that's not my expectation of him. If he does it, that'd be awesome. I would love the Suns to win. I'm just not like banking my financial future on Chris Paul like beating 7 Hall of Fame legends of that. It doesn't make any sense. Like,
right.
And that's kind of where Zion is priced at to me. It's like he has to like be a Hall of Famer like fast or else, and that's just way too much risk for me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just like, where are they at relative to people around them? Where are they at relative to like your risk tolerance in terms of pricing? Christian McCaffrey, same thing. Like, the prices are already so low that like, what is it? Like, your financial future is not at stake here.
No.
If I'm buying $100,000 NTRPA of Zion, dude, that's like an annual salary for like a rich person. That's like, you're putting a lot at stake here. I've spent less than $100,000 on my entire Chris Paul PC, and I have like way nicer cards than in my opinion than just like one NTRPA. So it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, totally. No, it's a good perspective. Very good perspective. Lots of different ways to look at that. But the thing that annoys me is that a lot of people, without any real medical substantiation of the opinion, were projecting that Zion would get injured and he's just so big, but no basis for that opinion except just like, well, I look at him and he's large and he jumps around a lot. But damn it, they were right. Damn it, they were right.
I was a doctor in my past life, so just leave it to me. I'll tell you who's gonna get.
That's just like
That's kind of the point, though. To me, is like I can't predict if he's gonna get hurt. You can't predict if he's gonna be a Hall of Famer. We have no idea.
Right.
Like both of us are guessing on both ends. What we do know is that when he plays, he's amazing.
Yep.
And what we also know is that he misses a lot of games. Those are the only two things we know. So like either he's gonna play a lot of games and be amazing, or he's gonna miss a lot of games and his price are gonna go down. One of the two.
Yeah, and that's why like the unspoken component of the card market and of card collecting is understanding how a player is collectible or not, independent of how good they are at their sport. Now, oftentimes those two things go together, but they're not the same. And the thing that card collectors can know and tune into is like, where does this person sit in pop culture, and like how embraced will this person be, and like those are things where you can actually look inward and say to yourself, like, is this a collectible player or not? And that's a different analysis than trying to project how fit they are or what they'll be able to accomplish athletically.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, look at Penny Hardaway, dude. Dude is like, if you stack his statistics, he's like so low on the totem pole of best players of all time that I've seen people be like, he should be in the Hall of Fame, and I'm like, based on what? The guy had like 3 good years. I think he was an All NBA player like 3 or 4 times tops. And I love Penny Hardaway. He had an amazing peak. He was a great player, but like very disappointing overall career because of injuries. But wildly popular player. He hit at the perfect time in the 90s with the marketing boom, and he played the whole like the next Michael Jordan thing. There's a ton of nostalgia for him, and he was a very exciting player. There's always you can never like pinpoint one reason, right?
No, definitely. All right, so to that point, let me give another example. So there's a player whose rookie card costs $3,000 in a PSA 10. And he has other cards from his non-rookie year that go for even more. So this player's most expensive card in Card Ladder is going to be $11,000. This player has an $11,000 card. All right, and here's his stats. He averaged 7.3 points per game over a 13-year career. And let me see if he played in 2 All-Star games. He played in
Dennis Rodman?
Dennis Rodman, yes. Dennis Rodman, okay? 7 points a game. This guy has cards that are worth 5 figures. The guy is collectible. The guy is collectible.
I might have said it on the show a long time ago that I think he's one of the most overrated, like, just basketball players of all time because of, like, how collectible he is. And I just don't, like, he just wants so much credit for those Bulls runs. And I'm like, dude, let's just be honest. Michael Jordan was the reason, I'll stop there because he has such a wild player.
Scottie Pippen was just as
Scottie Pippen was the Jordan of Jordan's teammates.
Dude, Scottie Pippen basically like didn't play or contribute in that game 6, right? He was like hobbling around in the locker room the whole game, and they won.
Right, definitely. So, but the point here is that like collectability and athlete performance are 2 separate things. They overlap, but they're 2 separate things.
Who's the modern day? I won't say Dennis Rodman, like not the basketball player. The modern day Dennis Rodman in terms of like. The stats aren't there, but dang, he's collectible. Like, Draymond Green is kind of the basketball equivalent, but his cards are not collectible. Like, Draymond Green prices are super low. So who is the Who's the Dennis Rodman of the collectible?
Or like,
I'll leave it to the chat maybe.
yeah, or maybe like a different way of saying that is like, who's a guy who's very sought after by collectors disproportionately, relative to where he stands relative to his peers in basketball.
Trae Young.
Or any other sport.
Oh, bowl, that's pretty good.
What about any sport? Open it up to any sport, because it's tough, man. Like it's a very rare occurrence. Like I get Rudy Gobert, and I'm surprised they're cheap. And he's like an all NBA defender.
Yeah.
Zion.
Yeah, and let me just round out the picture of Rodman here so that we give a fair shake, because there's a lot of Rodman collectors out there. We don't want you guys mad at us. Rodman's good, okay? Rodman,
Derek Jeter.
Rodman averaged 13 rebounds per game. All right, 13 rebounds per game. That's quite good. Obviously, he won 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. All right, and 5 championships. Okay, so to give a more well-rounded picture of Dennis Rodman, all due respect to the Dennis Rodman collectors out there. Okay, so Jeter is do we think that he fits that mold?
Yeah, but
No.
yeah, I can see that though, right? Because he doesn't have like the eye-popping stats of a lot of other guys. He has the 3,000 hits though, and
He has all the rings.
that's the point, right? Like Rodman has rings, but he doesn't have the monster
All
stats.
right, let me tell you. All right, I shouldn't even be talking about baseball, but that's never stopped me before. Let me give you the Jeter's highlight reel, all right? Career highlights: 14-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champion, same as Rodman with NBA championships. He was the World Series MVP in the year 2000. He was the American League Rookie of the Year. He was a 5 times Golden Glove winner. He was a 5-time Silver Slugger winner, and 2 times got the American League Hank Aaron Award. So, not bad. Not bad. It's pretty decorated, I'd say.
I think it's a pretty good answer though, honestly.
I agree. I think it is too. It's the best one we've fielded so far. But Rodman was less decorated than that. If I knew more about baseball, but I don't, but would it be popularly agreed upon to say Derek Jeter is the Dennis Rodman of baseball?
No.
Dude,
No,
I hate to say this, but like
because Derek Jeter was the best on his team for so long. Dennis Rodman was 3rd. So you can't. That's not an equivalent. I can't take that equivalent. I'm sorry, Ken. No, I disagree.
So Ken was just giving an example that speaks to it.
yeah, I think it's a good answer. I think it's all, dude, like the saying, like, when you're winning, it kind of heals all things and it cures all ails. Like if Rodman wasn't on these teams winning these championships, like he could be looked at historically as like this total cancer of like ruin. He had times when like the Spurs could not wait to get rid of that guy. He was a total disaster after the Bulls with the Mavs and the Lakers. He had little stretches where it was like, oh my gosh, get this guy out of here. But because he was with the Michael Jordan Bulls, Isaiah Thomas bad boy Pistons, that he has 5 rings. I'm not saying he's, that overrated. He was clearly like a very good basketball player. He had a key role in these teams, but like circumstances helped him quite a bit. Like, if someone said Joakim Noah or like Ben Wallace, if he had won like 5 rings, 6 rings, would we be looking at those guys in the same light? It's like, oh, they're just like the super scrappy guy. Got all these rebounds. They did the dirty work. Like, there's a lot of players that played like him.
Okay. Fair takes there. Don't come at us, Dennis Rodman collectors.
Or Dennis Rodman himself.
Or please, Dennis.
He's got those North Korea ties. You better be careful.
Derrick Rose?
Derrick Rose. His is more injury related. Derrick Rose is more Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, I agree.
Russell Westbrook is Allen Iverson. Derrick Rose is Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, I like that. Derrick Rose was an MVP of the league prior to injury.
The youngest of all time.
Yeah.
The youngest of all time.
Definitely. So he had, like Hardaway, a really high peak. that I think that matters.
Derrick Rose is Penny Hardaway. That's I like that one. Do you like that?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. That's a good comparison. It's a good comparison. So, all right.
Or Derrick Rose is also kind of like Grant Hill, where like they found a little bit of they found some success later in their career, like a little bit. They found their little niche, you know, where they like Grant Hill found the Suns and like found some life, and Rose has found some success with the Knicks and the Pistons and stuff, the Timberwolves.
Yeah, dude, Derrick Rose is a good player, man. Like, even in his current state with the Knicks today, it's a really important part of that team's success. He has an excellent plus minus, and part of that's because he plays with the bench unit, but he's a good player.
Didn't they take Kemba Walker out of the starting lineup?
Dude, they didn't only take Kemba out of the starting lineup. He's out of the rotation. He doesn't even play.
No way. My Suns did that to him. We exposed him.
I was going to say, wasn't it the Suns game that like said,
dude, literally,
like, screw this guy?
I'm not exaggerating. The fans were on top of that. They were like, Kemba Walker's undersized. He can't be guarding Devin Booker. Get him out. Like, the fans were just like ruthless with Kemba Walker, like, because he's undersized and he's not as fast as he once was. Like, he's becoming less useful in the current NBA. And the fans were all over it. They're like, he can't defend. He can't blow by people anymore. What's he doing out there?
Yeah. You got to see it unfold firsthand.
He's just, I mean, dude, that was my main takeaway from the game was like, oh my God, these guys are so fucking tall. And it's just like it's an obvious thing to say, like, I love my mom, but they're just so freaking tall, you know, standing courtside, you know, eye to eye with them, well, eye to like, you know, belly button with them. It's like, holy crap, JaVale McGee has like the longest arms of any human I've ever seen, and Kemba Walker is just, you know, Kemba Walker and Chris Paul are like average height dudes.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubts. All right, well, it's been a good crossover, about 15 minutes into hour 3. They're going to call this one, buddy. Yeah. Welcome to Collectors, everybody. First crossover under the Collectors umbrella.
Were we different? Were we more like buttoned up or no?
No.
No,
Definitely not. We're now, you know, we're firmly cursing and offering hot takes and indirectly dumping on people's collections without meaning any harm. So I think we're in true form.
I look forward to the email from HR on Monday.
I did see PSA Card jump in the chat at one point.
Yeah.
I did too. I was like,
fucked, but that's fine.
Shout out PSA Card. Ken. Shout out Ken. Shout out to the Collectors family. All right, guys. That's going to do it for tonight.
Oh, okay. Wait, I'm gonna screenshot Ken saying fucking shit in the chat.
That's our
so I have some.
That's our right. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We will see you guys next week.
Card Ladder, the best sports card app on the market. The future of sports cards is here. Card Ladder is the 21st century price guide and market analysis tool for sports cards. The best tools to help you track your cards. Watch the trends, stay informed, compare cards, and track the growth of your personal collection, all in one simple and intuitive platform. Join the innovators, not the imitators. The future is here. The future is now. Card Ladder.